Welcome to the Misfit Boyz podcast. This is episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. My name is Cheyenne Goglis, and I am the moderator, moral compass, and sometimes referee of the show. I am joined today by
Armando, a.k.a. Head Misfit, a.k.a. the Game Respecter, a.k.a. It's Too Big for Even You.
Sin Bin Specialist, Mikey B.
I am Jeff, lead attorney at the Jared Fogle Innocence Project. If you, by the way, if anybody has any complaints about this podcast, possibly not respecting the game enough, please contact my employer. Once again, that is the Jared Fogle Innocence Project. Eat fresh.
Gentlemen, start your beverages. What you got over there, Armando?
Well, I got the 2 Henrys, because 2 is better than 1 in anything that you do. It's the blueberry vanilla wheat, baby.
How is it?
It's delightful. Refreshing, yet with just a little bit of zing.
Very nice. Michael?
I'm keeping it classic with the Bud Light Lime.
Oh, summer's almost over. Better drink them while they're here.
Well, you know, we still got summer weather, so still summer to me.
Right on. Hunter?
I am also having a 2 Henrys blueberry vanilla wheat.
That's because I stole his. I'm not even gonna lie. I was drinking Bud Light.
There was a little
night off.
There was a little bit of beer thievery going on.
It just looks so delicious and delightful that I needed to have one.
I just want to point out this is the official beverage of Game Respecters.
Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
Respect the game.
What do you got, Cheyenne?
I have Miami Vice from Miami Beer Company, 6% alcohol by volume, and the fittingly retro Miami Vice, I would say teal and hot pink can.
I want to say that beer can is fantastic. That is the most delicious looking beer can I've ever seen. I literally think of Don Johnson right now.
No, if you didn't hear the theme song play when I popped the can.
I did not.
I did.
If you have ever been to a Miami Subs, it looks exactly like that in a can.
Oh man,
but way better and still in business. All right, so tonight's game recap. We previewed our brand new black jerseys. They looked fantastic, and I think that the team overall did a fantastic job skating out there today. We had 9 skaters up front.
We had 9 tonight,
and skated hard against the Raiders. Lost in the shootout, 2-1. Up and down the ice, both sides, guys played extremely well. Great line changes. I was seeing shots from the high points, from the boards, but nothing in the slot except for that one, whose name we will not mention because he's on our team.
I blacked out. I actually don't remember what happened.
I'm pretty sure at that point he was wearing a red jersey.
It all looked the other way.
I had to ask him when he got to the bench, what team do you play for again?
Well, we're not rubbing salt in wounds, and we're certainly not going to mention his name.
But
scoring feels really bad.
Scoring the game tying goal for our game is our own Mikey B, the sniper.
Yes, sir.
Finally putting one in the back of the net.
The worst shot all game is the one that goes in. Not those 10 other slap shots.
That's how it usually is.
It's just the way it is. Get those garbage goals. I'll take the points any way I can get them.
They had super goalie Josh in net, who we peppered the hell out of this game. We've at least 35 shots. I'm pretty sure we kissed
Probably
the 40 marker.
First 2 periods.
But yeah, we at least had 35 shots on him. I mean, he played standing on his head, and our own Cheyenne played on his head tonight too, coming through. I mean, the Chupacabra.
So he got stabbed in the back.
Yeah, exactly, by one of our own players pushing one in.
A little sore.
I saw the person we're not going to name. I saw him getting his 30 pieces of silver out back after the game.
This guy, I'm gonna take his jerseys away from him.
Judas kiss.
His jerseys. Give me that jersey. No, boys looked fantastic in black tonight. You guys looked great. I had, well, I won't tell you what I had the whole
good,
game, but
feeling good.
You know what? I'm glad we had our bench boss film the game. Oh, wait. He don't know how to work a camera, so no, we didn't.
I know.
He held a GoPro for 45 minutes without getting any actual footage.
Can you believe that? Somebody who's in technology. He's in technology. He's an IT guy, and he didn't even realize he was in picture mode. Didn't look for the red light. Didn't look for the red recording up top. It's so hard to find good free help these days.
It's a little bit like when you're a kid and your little brother wants to play the game. You just give him a controller that's not hooked up to anything. You know, that's exactly what it was.
Next time we should intentionally do that. We're thankful he didn't have it in selfie mode and recording for 45 minutes. Him shaking his head going, oh my God, this is horrible.
Well, everybody played phenomenal tonight, and a big shout out to Cheyenne, because it was your color choice on our jerseys. I was going to go with the simple white and baby Misfit blue, but you convinced me to go black and Misfit blue, and it paid off.
And it only took 3.5 years to get the jerseys.
But it happened. Persistence.
At least they're here, boys. At least they're here.
That's how I got my girlfriends, man. You just wear them down. Eventually they say yes. Come on, let's go to the movies. Come on, let me buy a cup of coffee. Come on, let me walk you to your car.
That's how I got,
I
got my wife to marry me. Eventually she had to say yes. I just became a pest. You want to go on a date? No. You want to go on a date? No. You want to go on a date? After about the 22nd no, she's fine. Okay, fine.
It's a game of respect, but it's a game of attrition.
That's right.
Yeah. I just planted my booty on my girlfriend's couch and never left.
She didn't have a choice. Right?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm never getting rid of this son of a gun.
Well, guys, I have to say that I had the absolute pleasure of seeing the USF men's hockey club playing against the USA women's Olympic team playing an exhibition over the past weekend up at Wesley Chapel, the Florida Hospital rink. And I guess I was really impressed with USF. Initially, they weren't getting a whole lot of shots through. It seemed like every time that they got a stick on puck, a blue sweater was right on top of them. The girls are fast. They work really well together, and throughout the entire game, chatter. I mean, you can't pick that up on TV, but you could just hear them shrilly yelling at each other, like banging sticks and screaming at each other. It was they took it very seriously, and I can't remember what the final was. I think it was
6-1 or something.
Was it 6-1 or 7? It was something like that. It was really high. But the USF men's club really did a good job stepping up. They finally got a goal. I think it was in the third. But they were not backing down. But at the same time, they weren't trying to injure them either. I mean, you don't want to be the guy who takes out an Olympian and they can't skate in South Korea because of your actions. But girls were giving it back too. I mean, they were not taking it easy on the guys at all whatsoever. But definitely a lot faster in person. A lot of respect to them. Half of them are in college. The other half are playing in the NWHL or the Canadian Professional Women's League. But they did a really good job, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. They're going to be coming back for the Four Nations Cup. They'll be playing at the same place, Florida Hospital Ice Rink in Wesley Chapel, and then the third place game will be played in Amalie Arena, and then also the championship game will be played at Amalie Arena. Reasonable ticket prices too. So if you're interested in women's hockey, definitely check that out. It's going to be USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden playing over like 3 days. And I intend on going to one, if not more games. It was fun to watch. And when do you get to see Olympians play or in this area on our ice? You know, in the rinks that we play at.
I love Cheyenne because he's like Olympians, right? And I'm thinking hockey. I love hockey. Women. I love women. Women in hockey. Oh, goal. Love it. You're an Olympian. No, you had me at women hockey. I'm there.
Well, they are a rare breed indeed, but they are impressive to watch. So anybody has an opportunity to be able to go out there and watch them, it will be, I think it's in November. Can't remember what the dates are. I don't have it right in front of me, but if you have an opportunity, definitely go by and check them out.
I'm going to need you to be more prepared for the podcast with the dates.
I should be, but I'm not. So there you go. I don't respect the podcast enough.
That's what it is.
Maybe that's what it is. All right.
I'll tell you.
So between all the different texting back and forth this past week, subject of conversation came up, and I want to go ahead and bring it up for the podcast. The NHL wants to globalize hockey, just
speaking
not
of
at
Olympians.
the Olympics. So.
I don't even know where to start on this
all right,
one.
Just to recap what came up is there's been reports that the NHL is talking about they want to establish an international event to grow the game overseas, grow hockey overseas, which seems like next year. next February, I think there's going to be an international event that can grow the game, but there's not going to be any NHL players at.
Why not? I mean, that seems like a great opportunity to do that.
You would think.
What's it called? Do you know?
The Olympics, I think. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
That just doesn't sound right.
No.
Want
Well,
me to Google it?
Never heard of it.
This is, I mean, just the hubris of the NHL. They come out, they don't want the players to go for whatever reason. You know, it's money is what it comes down to.
It's all about money.
Yeah, it's all about money. They don't let the players go. It's insurance reasons. They don't want to stop their, they don't have a 3-week break in February for it. They want to have an international event to promote hockey, but they don't control the Olympics, so they don't want to let their players go. But just the complete arrogance of Gary Bettman and the NHL owners to shut down a great event. Olympic hockey is fantastically exciting. I think it's the most exciting hockey tournament in the world. And the NHL is just, so they got their heads so far up their own ass, and now they're talking about establishing another international hockey event, something like the World Cup of Hockey, which they control, and that's what they want, so that they don't have to let their players go someplace else and worry about insurance and worry about what happens when they get injured. But it just, I don't know. The NHL, it just seems like they are incapable of making a single good decision.
I just don't understand the money and the logistics and everything that goes into a game in China. The Canucks played the Kings during the preseason. How much money was it to fly halfway around the damn world with your skates and your equipment?
Coach.
I'm sure they have an ice rink.
Or first class, but
But the logistics of getting both of those professional teams overseas into China, right? Playing a game. How much money did they make off of the gate onto that? They didn't come close to paying for the expense of going over there and doing that. And
room and board too.
Well, in here, does anybody think that the NHL is not going to let its players go in 2022 to Beijing, the Winter Olympics there? Because they want the Chinese market. Like, I can almost guarantee they're going to come up with some sort of excuse where they're going to go back to the Olympics because that benefits them. But apparently South Korea is not a big enough market for them.
South Korea is literally within striking distance of China. I mean, everybody pays attention to the Olympics. Everybody. And it is right there. Literally, it's within their time zones. It's really close by, an hour ahead, for more mainland China or whatever. But it's right there. It's on their side of the world. It's like when we have the Olympics over in, say, Rio. Everybody was watching Olympics because it was in our time zone. We can watch this. This is scheduled around our time. Just after dinner, you can watch swimming for the rest of the evening. It's fantastic. It's hard when it's halfway across the world. When it was in, where was it? The Russian city?
Sochi.
Sochi. When it was in Sochi, it was hard, but we still managed. We found ways to watch hockey, but it's tough. It's a lot harder to get that viewership. You're in Korea. You're right there next to the market that you're trying to crack into.
And I still think that they send players over there, or players go without Gary Bettman's consent, because
I don't know, because I thought the Russians, they were going to be the ones who would say, well, we're going no matter what, and then Ovechkin said, yeah, I'm not going to go, because I think it was the IIHF came down and said, well, we're not even going to invite any NHL players.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a perfect opportunity for them to help grow their product. Look, these are the guys that we have playing in our league. All these exciting
and that's
goals.
The frustrating thing about it is because they're saying, well, now we need to create another international event which
is absolutely
to make money off of.
It already
it's absolutely
exists.
ridiculous.
It already exists.
That's
why we have
It's
it.
a money grab.
Yeah,
That's all it is. It's ridiculous. But the thing is that Bettman doesn't make a move without the owners of the NHL teams telling him what to do. He's not the end all be all. He's the voice of the owners. We have to remember that. Yeah. So when we're getting upset about things happening or not happening in NHL, we have to look back at the ownership and say,
yeah. Well, and that's what he gets paid to do. He's paid to be the fall guy. How are they changing the business? He's paid to go out there and get booed whenever he presents the Stanley Cup and get booed at the NHL draft and be the unpopular guy who does exactly what the owners want. He's Triple H. The owners don't want
He's Triple H from the WWE.
He's the heel.
That's it. He's the heel. He'll always be the heel, and he don't care because he's making money.
Boo me. Boo me all the way to the bank to cash my check.
Hey.
You hate on me when I'm counting my Benjamins.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of NHL, how about those Knights, Mike?
Wow.
Your second favorite NHL team.
Impressive. Very impressive. Was not expecting this start at all.
The maybe Golden Knights? I don't know if you guys saw this, but
Yeah.
there was some trademark confusion over here where I guess UCF and Army are both still contesting the Golden Knights
yeah.
nickname. And apparently they might be the Sand Knights next year.
Knights.
That's the one name they've hung on to.
Drop it. Just be the Las Vegas Knights.
Just be the Knights
What's wrong
or
with
the
Las
Desert
Vegas
Knights.
Yeah.
What was ever wrong with Las Vegas Knights? That is a perfect fit for that town and for that team.
Yeah.
What is wrong with it?
Well,
Why
I
you
think
gotta be
that
Sand
the Knights are taken too
Sky Knights.
by college.
Let's be Skylanders, and we'll get it sponsored by that crazy
I feel
video
like
game.
like Knights is so generic though.
Right.
Like you can do Knights, you know, and it's fine. Like it's a generic term. You can't really have a trademark on something that generic. But okay, Golden Knights you can.
Well, I believe one of the owners was a graduate at West Point, wasn't he? Wasn't he U.S. Army? And they named it after basically the Golden Knights because it was after the Army. That's what they have.
That seems
Golden
like a really
Knights.
bad idea to come out and say when you're trying to skate by on like a trademark claim.
No, but I mean, the thing is that there's no professional team that has Golden Knights because you have minor league teams, pick a sport. You have Thrashers, there's Pirates all over the place. There's, Hurricanes. They're all over the place. It's not an infringement. It's the name of a thing. And as long as it's not impacting another organization's, jersey sales, then what does it matter? The NHL is a far fourth behind the four big sports. How many jersey sales is it really impacting on UCF and the Army?
I don't know. UCF's good again, so it might actually
Might be a difference.
might actually matter now. The thing is about Army, I'm not actually sure how that works with them being obviously part of the U.S. government. So I don't know how that works with that, but
I think you're not supposed to mess with the government. I think that's doesn't matter what
if
it
they were the
costs.
IRS Golden Knights, then yes, I would say that.
I think that they have more trouble than their name, right? Golden Knights, Sand Knights, whatever you want to call it at the end of the day. They're going to have some goaltender issues. I mean, Fleury's out, and now you got Subban out. I don't know if you guys saw.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, his goal that was disallowed because he brought himself into the net and they couldn't see the puck was ridiculous. But now he's out for 4 weeks with an injury. I think it was lower body.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be his groin, his right groin. The way he extended it and just it definitely pulls something. But now they got Oscar Donsk in net and very highly touted prospect. But we'll see how he fares in the NHL.
Yeah, we should talk about something important, which is my fantasy team and the fact that I can't keep a healthy goalie. Schneider went out. Who was it? Ranta went out.
I don't even want to talk about the fantasy league. I don't even want to talk about the fantasy league because goalies went second round, and not only that, but I've got Mike's nephew Chase beating me in fantasy hockey. That reminded me tonight when he was walking out of the locker room. You know I'm beating you, right? Yeah. Thanks. I can check the scoreboard, jerk. So yeah, I don't want to hear your
So he
fantasy
pulled an
hockey
Armando,
woes.
and you're upset by that because if the roles were reversed, you'd be like, "Hey Chase, you checked the fantasy list?"
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have been sitting next to him, showing him the phone.
Respect the game, Chase. Respect the game.
Respect the scoreboard.
Don't hate the player. Respect the game.
Right.
That is going to be my next fantasy team name. I'm going to be the Game Respecters.
The game respect.
Absolutely, mad respect
I like it.
to the game.
To the game, boys. Respect the game. It's bigger than all of us. It's bigger than all of us.
Bigger than all of us.
I'll tell you what, man. That Two Henrys, you are on point with that, Jeff. That thing is delicious. Delicious.
Is it a good balance between the blueberry and vanilla? Or?
It is just a nice balance. It's just a very cooling when you sip on it. Just, I'm telling you, when it hits the lips, it tastes so good. I don't know, man.
I might have to steal one.
Well, you know what? Your Miami Weiss.
Oh, no, it's good though. It's very light. It's high octane. But I had this on draft at the Tampa, the Lowry Parkade. I don't know if you guys know where that is. It's on Waters Avenue near North Boulevard. It's an old bar, old dive bar that they've converted to a retro arcade, and they have a beer bar. So there's a lot of craft beers, mostly all Florida breweries and stuff.
I think we should take a field trip.
I think we
I
should.
see a Misfits field trip in the future here. I think it was Cody asking when we were going to do our bonding, and I think it's hilarious. We're going to do it shortly.
I'm pretty sure that we could probably get our podcast there at the location.
Do a live broadcast.
That would be, we should do that. We need to talk to. Hey, Cheyenne, set that up.
I could reach out to him.
I mean, can you? We're
going
gonna need you to do it just a little bit for the podcast, just a little bit. That's all we need you to do.
other than time mark the curse words. Okay, I can do that.
We need you to help us out here. All right?
I'll
Get
do
us a
what
live
I do.
broadcast brewery. Done.
Absolutely. Okay, but you guys would love it because they have a whole bunch of different era games. They have pinball. They have like Galaga next to NBA Jam, next to X-Men versus Capcom.
All right, well, hold on.
They have Turtles.
You realize we got Mike here. He doesn't even know what Galaga is. Okay.
I played some of those games.
Do you know what NBA Jam is? You remember that?
I know what
NFL
it
Oh
is.
my god, dude, that was my
Mortal
jam.
Kombat 2 and 3, man, forget it.
Space
I don't think Mike was around for Combat 2 and 3. I'm surprised he was around for
I got
NBA
Mortal
Jam.
Kombat X.
All I gotta say is we may not get a podcast done if we get there too early.
What's your guys go-to arcade game? Like when you think arcade game, what do you think?
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, no, that's legit. That's a legit classic.
Miss Pac-Man, for obvious reasons. She swallows.
Big Ten.
Asteroids.
Astros?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I ain't gonna lie. Come on, Jeff.
I would say Time Cop 2.
Really?
That one was a good one. Time Cop 2 was really good.
fun,
Yeah, I did enjoy that
That's
one.
anytime anybody talks about arcade games, I'm like, that's what I think of.
That's what you think of?
Yeah, it's either that or there was a game I think called Beastmaster.
Yes. Yeah, there was. Yeah. Yeah.
That was probably the earlier one. They had that at a hockey rink.
Altered Beast.
I think
Is it
of
Altered Beast?
Cruising USA all the time because you see those everywhere. The Cruising USA game, where she's like, "Come in and win," and you never win.
You don't win.
It's very rare that you win because they always have like that last bit where they're just faster than you right at the tail end and they just skeet right by.
Yeah, they
Hate
don't
that
really
game.
have a whole lot of those big sit-down games because they take up a lot of space, and it's just a small little old dive bar. But they still manage. Oh, and you guys would love this, and I think we'd have to do this before the podcast. They have a bubble hockey table there.
Oh, yes.
I'm game.
So,
I'm
I think
game.
I've
One
just
is
sold it.
going
I
down.
didn't sell it before. I just sold it now. Bubble
I'm
hockey.
game. Bubble hockey. I'm in.
Bubble
Let's do
hockey
it.
tournament.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm in.
All right, I will. I'll talk to him, see what we can do to secure a table. Like I said, it's a small little area, but I think if we get there early enough, even with the arcade sounds in the background, I think that'll just add to the ambiance. I think we should definitely do that. So I'll put that on the list. Okay.
All right, you jot that one down, Cheyenne.
Absolutely. All right. So, the Southern Professional Hockey League has this call your opponent out format. They borrowed it from Austria's Erste Bank Ice Hockey Liga, if I'm saying that right. So basically, however it is you
You're
fall
not,
in
but
the-
I'm going to let you go.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. My Austrian's a little rusty. So basically, you get formatted through your playoffs, so 1 through 8 or whatever, and whoever is the top gets to pick somebody. Say we're playing you for the playoffs, and it's supposed to be like a grudge match where like, oh, since we got top seed, we're going to pick you guys because we think we're going to knock you off easy, or you're our crosstown rivals, or this and the other. It's going to be a fun series, and we're going to take revenge out on you.
Yeah.
That might be okay for minor league, but I just don't see that making its way up into the NHL.
Well, no, because we've established that the NHL will never do anything correct or fun.
True. I think it would be a lot of fun to let them pick who they're going to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think that looking at what the All-Star game has done, where they just elect captains and the captains are picking teams.
Yeah.
and, like
I think it's stupid.
Mike doesn't like
Of
it.
course, Mike thinks it's stupid. Mike, why do you think it's stupid, Mike?
He does not properly respect the game.
There are
Please
playoff
elaborate.
seeds.
You're not respecting the game, by the way, Mike. You're not
inadequate
respecting
amount
the
of
game.
games.
I detected zero respect in that statement there.
But there are playoff seeds for a reason. You play the regular season for a reason. You earn your spot for a reason. Why should the number one team get to call someone out? Say you call out a 5 seed, and then who does 4 seed play? They play an 8 seed
Do you
instead. So that kind of just
Here's the question: would you prefer something like that, or do you like the current playoff model where it's sort of a divisional playoff, as opposed to just
what
being
I
a
think-
straight 1 through 8 seeding?
I like 1 through 16 seeding, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's something I think will never happen just because of travel.
Right.
And the teams
Yeah.
are just never going to go. Like, the owners are never going to go.
But
for
it
that.
would be interesting.
Yeah,
I would like to
that'd
see
be,
it.
that'd be good.
At least 1 year.
See, I'd be curious. I mean, Armando, you were a special case. This is the official Blackhawks portion of tonight's show. Please fast forward.
Yes, we waited all of 30 minutes.
Yeah, please
I
fast
can't
forward
believe
about an hour and a half, and you'll miss
Well,
all
I
the
mean,
Blackhawks
listen,
stuff.
you're going to talk about the Hawks because they're just on fire. I mean, we would talk about the Rangers, but they're like, yeah, exactly.
But last season, you guys got taken out by the Predators. You know,
Swept.
is that a team? I mean, what would have happened? What if you would have chosen the Flames? You know, to play instead of playing the Preds?
I mean, you never know, right? I mean, you can choose the Flames and still come out with the same
And
result.
that's the thing. You have to wonder if if you're the Blackhawks and you pick the Flames, then the Flames are going to say, "Well, I'm not taking this. I'm going to fight like hell to beat
And
these
how do you
guys because
look
they
if
think
you-
they
Well,
can
they look
sweep
at the
us."
easy target, right? They just said Blackhawks picked us. They think we're an easy target to take down.
Yeah,
but
it's
we're gonna
almost
show
sort of
them
like a
something different.
motivational thing,
Right.
It's just like how you always hear about bulletin board material with all these teams. They like take press clippings and they put it on the bulletin board and they say,
Yeah.
"Look, these are all the people who don't believe in you."
I think it'd be fun. Like, it's a fun notion to think about.
Yeah.
But I don't think by any means it's going to change the outcome, because I think that once something happens, it happens. So, it was sad. We got swept by the Predators. But listen, Pecorini and that team played very well. They went all the way and to only get taken out. But it is what it is.
Which they lost to the Rangers on Saturday. I just want to put that in there. Hank stood on his head finally.
Did you guys, what is that, your second game?
That is
this
our
season?
second win. We've got 6 points. And
I think
climbing
you're
up those
doing-
standings.
Yeah. you're
Like
climbing
I
up the
said, give us
standings
15
really
games.
well.
We're halfway there now. So, just it's coming more and more true.
I mean,
You'll see. I'm telling you.
two games in, and listen to him. Oh, we got our second win, guys. Here it goes.
As long
All
as
we need to do is
hey.
win 2, and as soon as we won 2, we are in
If we
there.
can keep it consistent, if we play the way we did on Saturday, we'll be winning a lot of games. That's for sure.
We had the same record as
I want
Edmonton.
to Mike, what do you really think is the issue there? Do you think they're just playing inconsistently? Do you think it's coaching?
Well, the last 2 games they lost were shootout to the Islanders and overtime to the Penguins. They definitely shot themselves in the foot against the Penguins. Crosby with that nonsense goal behind the net off Hank's back to tie it up with less than a minute left. I mean,
That's what he does.
what are you going to do about that?
I don't know if it's
and,
nonsense. I thought the goal was pretty, but
Shootout, anything can happen. The Rangers don't have a talented shootout team, but that's not who you draft. You draft players to play the game, not to play a shootout. And I think the system
yeah, but they have
is
to play
there.
the game, so they're not in the shootout, and they're not playing the game.
That's
I mean, one game.
They're going to get a little more respect for the game, and I think they're going to play a little harder. And that structure, like I said, is coming together, and they're going to figure it out.
Mike is really optimistic. Really optimistic, because at the
I don't
table
know
right
why.
now, his team,
I know why, because they're 2-5 right now, and
5 and
they
2.
have the only way they can go is up at this point.
That's right.
I have to say that since the previous broadcast, I am absolutely astounded with the progress that the Lightning have made. After that loss to the Panthers, that second game, they have not even looked back. They have won. They've won the last 5 straight. I'm absolutely floored with the way that they're winning. Not just that they're winning, but they're winning impressively. They destroyed the Penguins last night, 7-1. I couldn't even keep up with the ESPN updates. Like, what?
They're 5-0 at home. They're 5-0 at home. They're doing fantastic at home.
And 2 things. One, I mean, do you think this is Kucherov's breakout season where he becomes an NHL superstar because he's been playing fantastically? And the other is, are the Penguins good? Are we convinced the Penguins are good?
Cindy Crosby, maybe, but
I'm not. I mean,
because they've been doing it. They've been doing it with 4 guys. The past 2 seasons, and they've gotten lucky with everybody else playing well.
They've gone far for the past 3 years as well. It's a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, it's going to catch up. That's a lot of
eventually.
minutes played, a lot of games played. Maybe it is catching up with them. But
Well, it definitely is. I
They're
mean,
still
look
a
at
playoff
Crosby.
team. They're not going to win the division.
yeah,
I'm still thinking the Capitals are going to win the division, even with all those changes. But they are still a playoff team. Still a good team.
Well, I mean, Capitals started strong and then petered out.
Yeah,
And they're 4-4 right
They're
now.
4-4.
4-4 and one, I
with one
think,
overtime loss. They're 500. I see that. They're going to reverse their own fortunes as they go. They've never been a
middle of the road team.
yeah. They're middle of the road. But when the playoffs come, they start kicking it up a notch, and then they get eliminated and they're gone. The Lightning are making a lot of noise right now, but again, it's way early into the season. I'm not looking anything into this other than when they're healthy and they're humming along like they are.
but you have to
they look unstoppable.
you have to like how they're playing now compared to how they were playing last season, right?
Absolutely. Like I said, everybody's healthy. They seem to be running on all cylinders. Everybody seems to be on the same page. And
the big help is the play of Andrei Vasilevsky.
Absolutely. I mean,
Can't say enough about him right
shoulder.
now.
Now that he's the undisputed number one guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And he's not taking the responsibility lightly. He is taking it by the reins and he is driving it down the road. So good for him. Good on him. And he's a young guy. He could be here for years and years to come. But again, we really, to get any kind of litmus test, we really need to look at the quarter season and then, All-Star break. You can really start seeing where the threads are starting to come loose on some of these teams that are just hobbling along and waiting for, people to get healthy again versus, people who start off strong and then peter out. So it'll be interesting to see what the Vegas Knights are going to do with their goaltending situation, if they're going to be able to surmount that issues, if they're for real. And the same with the Lightning. Are they really going to be the favorites and then they're going to maintain that pressure all season long?
It's going to be a tough road, but I think that they'll do it. They're going to be fighting with the Maple Leafs all the way down to the last game for that for the division rather, and most likely the conference. And it'll probably wind up being the Lightning or Maple Leafs in the conference final.
You really need to lay off the drugs that you take.
Well, he's trading one blue shirt for another one. It sounds like he's to make
now he's on the Lightning because of his girlfriend. That's all.
It sounded more to me like he's starting to favor the
You can't just
Leafs,
overlook a good team.
Nobody said to overlook
like
a good team, but I mean that's a pretty bold statement in the finals. We all are in agreement here, and you guys back me up. First podcast, it was Rangers all the way. Second podcast is in the next 5 years. And now the third podcast is, Lightning's definitely going to the finals, right? And, and Toronto
finals.
conference finals.
Against the Rangers.
They're big enough.
Oh, now it's against the Rangers?
No, like I've said, this is not so much a hockey podcast as it is a podcast about Mike's descent into mania.
But you know what? You got to respect that mania because he's a true fan. Fan is short for fanatic, and he loves his Rangers. He's not going to bout to abandon ship when things are looking horribly, horribly bad.
Well, nobody told him to abandon shit, but at least have some.
No, that's it. Mike, you're an Islanders fan now.
Being a fanatic doesn't mean having sense.
You heard it, folks. The Rangers are
wearing
done.
silver and black in the end zone
It's
behind
over.
the Oakland Raiders, just screaming your lungs out for no good reason.
I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
I'll tell you what.
Being a fan.
Mike watches the Rangers game and goes, crap. All right, well, maybe the Oilers will do better. Oilers aren't doing anything. Guess what? I love the Vegas Knights. All of a sudden,
Can't call me a fun runner there. No one knew how they would do.
I think that is a great segue into what you guys were talking about earlier. Austin Matthews versus McDavid. Is Austin Matthews going to be the new face of the NHL? Crosby is obviously getting a little long in the tooth, and we need to get a younger guy who's going to be, the representative.
I'll say this:
the
he is
NHL.
absolutely going to be the face of American hockey.
Yeah,
I agree.
Especially a guy coming
totally
from
agree with that.
a Sun Belt, in Phoenix. Like he's absolutely going to be the face of American hockey for the next 15 years, which USA Hockey badly needs. A good young face, who is untainted by certain allegations.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
Oh yeah.
But
doing better than the U.S. Soccer Association, which took a huge step backwards. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago definitely earned that win, soccer-wise. But for the U.S. soccer team to go in and just say, we got this, and lose. Horrible misstep. I don't think USA Hockey is going to be making those kinds of decisions.
I read the other day that Fox paid $400 million for the rights for the World Cup. How do you think they're feeling right now?
Pretty bad.
No U.S. men's national team in there.
Man. They are going to be hyping that in whatever markets they have outside of the U.S. That's horrible. That was a huge blow to soccer. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but just listening to the soccer commentators and just some of the articles that I read,
they were angry.
It's like, how do you lose to Trinidad and Tobago? You don't show up to the game, and that is why games are still played. You don't just show up and say, you know what, you guys have a good record. We're just going to go ahead and give this to you.
And it's just such a big turnaround because it seemed like they were doing so well earlier in the year. Everybody was talking about how they'd had, I think, like a 17-game unbeaten streak or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then they just came in here and, I don't follow.
Wash those hands.
Hockey, soccer very close.
Just for you.
But yeah, it was. What struck me is, people didn't seem stunned, but they just seemed angry. Like they were really pissed that U.S. Soccer had lost.
How did we get on soccer? I thought we were talking about McDavid.
Yeah, we really got off track there.
Well,
listen.
It does come back around because U.S. Soccer is going to be losing a lot of traction because of one game that they needed to take seriously on their way to their World Cup, and they totally blew it. That kind of goes back to the NHL and not playing in the Olympics. Oh, we're just not going to do it this year because we don't want to. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to respect the game and be bigger than profits.
That's what it's all about is respect.
Soccer sucks and hockey rules, so that's why it's a hockey podcast and not soccer podcast.
Soccer players lay on the ground. Oh, he kicked me. I'm hurt. Meanwhile, hockey players are taking pucks to the face. They're getting back up.
Dying
they're coming
on the
out
bench.
scoring goals and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I agree totally with Mike. Soccer
All right,
sucks.
so getting back on topic here, McDavid versus Matthews. So I will say this. I think that Matthews has the advantage of playing on the better team. I think I would definitely take Toronto over Toronto's roster over Edmonton's.
Right now, yes, but they're going to have some trouble in a few years when that salary cap hits.
Mm-hmm. And that's and so is Edmonton.
Yeah, for sure.
And now
they got their big guys left.
But they're going to figure
Edmonton
it out.
might not have their goalie. I mean, we thought for the longest time they had,
Talbot.
not the longest time, but they had Talbot. And we thought, okay, they're going to be great because he played great last year. But he's gotten yanked twice already.
A few times, yeah. He's got a terrible save percentage, and it's not looking good for the Edmonton Oilers right now, unfortunately.
I'm a McDavid fan.
One.
Love him. Think he's fast, great with the puck, just overall stellar player. But Matthews on the better team, looking better this season, already putting up his points. I mean, looking a lot better than McDavid. I think it's going to be a really tight run between the two, but I think for the face of hockey, Matthews is the one.
I'm still going to have to go McDavid. The guy
he's
put
the
up
more
stellar year. He's more likable guy.
Spectacular player. He's the one with the highlight reel.
As far as a
did you see that
player.
behind the back backhand pass against the Hawks?
Was that a great play, or was that Seabrook just forgetting how to play defense?
No, he just undressed them.
I'm sorry.
Made them look
I have to give
girls.
McDavid. That was the most beautiful pass
It was,
I've seen in a long time.
You're a defenseman. Get up on him.
No, but he was on there. I don't think he was ready for that. I mean, again, to play at McDavid's caliber.
Who is ready for a play?
Right. I mean, he's phenomenal. It was a fantastic pass. It was hard for me to get really mad because it was such a good looking pass with a goal. So, yeah.
All right. So, general consensus is Matthews. Is that what we're going with?
I'm on the Matthews train right now.
I mean, if I had to pick who's going to win a Stanley Cup first, I think I would pick Matthews because he plays on the better team.
Well, we're just going individual performance, I think. Or are we?
I say Matthews.
Yeah.
Honestly, USA Hockey needs a good standard bearer, and he'll be it. Sidney Crosby, Canadian product, fantastic, spokesman for the game, and fantastic crier on the ice. But we need somebody
phenomenal crier.
We need a younger person who can ignite the younger generation and get behind. And
by the way, you just pissed off every Pittsburgh fan that listens to our podcast right now.
That's
Do not
fine.
care.
But yeah, I'm gonna go
Hey,
McDavid.
Pittsburgh has a lot to be happy with. They have a lot of good game respecting going on that team. Ryan
Reeves.
Ryan Reeves.
They gave up a
I
number
think
one
he
for Ryan
averages
Reeves.
what?
I would point out that Sidney Crosby now has more penalty minutes through 6 games this season than he did all of last season. I think that's Ryan Reeves' influence there. Really getting some good game respecting reps in.
We got it. The best way to respect the game is to get a different perspective, and he hasn't been in the sin bin much. So, Mike, I think you can agree it's a different perspective being in the
It's a
penalty
completely
box,
different game, and
isolated by yourself.
It's a lot
No one
of
to
fun
talk
there.
to.
You got a lot of time to think, drinking water,
Take a rest.
Don't guys, talk to
You
nobody.
go to the box and you feel shame.
You feel shame.
No, I feel fantastic in that box.
Mike is shamed.
that's
That
Mike's
bench
home
and
away
my
from
butt
home.
have
Mike
a
doesn't feel
special
shame.
bond.
That's Mike's home away from home, right in the box. He loves
Mike
that
doesn't
box.
feel shame. It's like, oh, finally, I can get away from all these
Speaking
people.
of which, Mike was in the damn box again tonight.
Hey, it didn't cost us.
He pitches a tent in the box.
It's because I respect the game.
Respect the
Phrasing
game,
in
Mike.
more ways than one.
Phrasing. That concludes our show today. I would like to thank tonight's sponsors: the Tampa Blackhawks Sympathizers Club, Tony the Sound Manager at Sam Ash in Clearwater, Respect the Game, available on PS4 and Xbox One, Dr. Sean Hansen, Chiropractor
Press
to the
X to pay
Stars
respects.
at Tarpon Total Healthcare, and Two Henry's Brewing Company. For more information on us, please visit our Facebook page, Misfit Boyz Hockey with a Z. Fresh episodes posted every Wednesday. Thank you for listening, and may your week be as awesome as a fresh sheet of ice.